what I meant by basis is that these structures is similar in their nature, whereby the build is for a particular purpose. It is for something that is prevailing in our in that particular society. So no matter where you go, you can see the majestic structure, the awesomeness of the structure. It is being created by the people for a particular purpose, and you can see the similarity of all the structures here. The same thing here, if we were to look at the nature of controlling the behavior of a person in the society, because law is to be an order, right? Law number one is to be an order, which is the legal norm, and that particular order have cohesive nature. So if you look at this uh, person who steals things that is not supposed to be doing something that the society doesn't want, so obviously we want the law have to come in and correct his behavior. How to correct his behavior is by putting people in certain places that would be able to consensus concertedly, yeah, in concert to tackle this particular issue. So how do you punish a person, a thief, into jail? You just cannot simply catch him, and put him directly in jail. He has to stand trial, right? How do you do that? So you must capture him first. Obviously, you need the police in order for the police to capture him. Then you have the Attorney General in order for the AG to decide whether the evidence that was gathered is complete or not. And then on top of that, you have the method of the judge, the court system, in order the court system to handle this particular thief, to decide whether he is right or wrong. And then we have the aftermath of that. They have the prison system, whether that particular person that is the offender is to be punished in whatever ways. Sometimes if the bag contain drugs, and you can apply, the decision might be that he is to be hanged, right? So how to hang him, how long he is to be supposed to stay in that particular uh, process of punishment, before he is to be hanged. If he were to be jailed, how long, in what prison, you know similarly when it comes to court system, obviously which branch, civil branch or civil branch or the criminal branch, you know the system is there. The system is there. It's just that each individual in that system, to punish the thief, they are empowered by the law in order for them to do their job. The police are empowered. The judges are empowered. The prison officers, they are empowered. Empowered by what? Empowered by law. And this actually can be seen throughout the world. You cannot simply do something without having some kind of justification, and that justification must come from the justification of law. Now, Kelsen is saying that this justification in terms of the action of the police to capture this particular person is actually being licensed by the law. Right? The law allows for the police to do certain acts. Say, for example, to capture a person, and then you have to collect the evidence. The police might, in certain situation, get warrant, or in certain situation they can act without warrant. These powers are being given to them, but where does this power come from? In order for us to identify the structure as the picture that I mentioned here, so this is something that we need to investigate. And if you do that investigation, then you start to realize that the police receive their powers from the bylaws. eh? Yeah, sorry about the spelling. Coming from the bylaws. And if you investigate further, where does this bylaw come from? It is coming from the Enabling Act, meaning the Parent Act. Now the question is, where do you get this Enabling Act from? It must be coming from somewhere. So it must come from the basic norm, where that that basic norm becomes the root of all the powers for the police, for the judges, for the prison officers, for the sentencing officers, for the parole officers. You know, uh, the, these people, they have their own duties, and if you look at all the duties that they have, comes from a power that is given by the law. If you investigate this bylaw, is coming from a parent act, yeah, enabling act. So where does this enabling act come from? From the basic norm. This is what we call he called grand norm. And in our investigation of the police, our basic norm would be the federal constitution. Okay, if you look at any person in that particular process of a person to be punished, they are enforced by the law. And if you investigate each one of them, where do they get their powers from? Eventually, you go up that pyramid and you will see the basic norm, which is our federal constitution. So this is what he says as grand norm, yeah? the the overall power of authority that is giving what they call it powers for all individuals within the process of correcting any negative behavior of any members in the society.